up, YouTube? Let's see here, man. See if anybody's awake this morning, wants to come in. How you guys out there doing today? Hope you're doing well. Just so you know, the topic of today is going to be a sad day in America. America we once knew when we grew up is now officially over. Turn the music down. Just going to jump in here real quick and give you my opinion of what happened last night with the Black Lives Movement and the murder of the 5 police officers and the 6 others that were wounded, and a civilian that was wounded by snipers. To me now, Black Lives Matter is not a movement. It is a terrorist organization. What happened yesterday was no different than terrorists coming over here, exciting, starting violence in the middle of a crowd. They should now be moved to a federal task force, and each one charged with terrorism charges and jailed for the rest of their lives. I don't have a problem with people peacefully protesting. I don't fully understand what happened with the killing of the 2 black gentlemen. It looked to me that until the facts come out, I won't know. And I'm not going to prejudge anybody, and I don't. But I know for a fact that what happened yesterday turned this country into something that it's never been. And that is a country that is being taken over by what I believe to be a Democratic push in hiding to start a war race of all war races, and also the push to get arms out of Americans' hands under the pretext that if we didn't have weapons, this wouldn't happen. Well, if you use your brain and you think about it, the Romans did not have guns. They had rocks, homemade knives. There's ways to create problems without weapons. And people who want to destroy other people are going to find those ways. But come on, guys. We as Americans need to call out anyone that is involved in this Black Lives Movement, because now they are moved to a terrorist organization. It could have been your family that was standing out there. These guys were snipers. This was a coordinated, designed attack by professionals. These aren't the average you and me on the street mad thinking we're going to pull off a few bullets and try to get famous. This was coordinated effort by professionals who sniped these police officers, in which these police officers had nothing to do with the murders or not murders of the within the past 2 days of the black gentleman in each different city. Understand, when you start creating a war outside of a war zone, you are creating a battlefield. And what happened yesterday is only going to make each police officer that much more timid that much more cautious, that much more questionable every time he pulls over an individual. And, you know, the argument being said that there's more blacks being shot than white, that is a false narrative brought on by the mainstream media. Do your research. More white people are shot by police officers than black people. The only reason it's not well known is because they don't put it on the news. They don't tell black America that white America is being shot up by police officers. They don't say that. You know why? It don't create the news. We don't go out and burn buildings down and act like a damn fool. Act like you don't have no reason. Think you're fighting a cause. You're not fighting a cause. You're fighting because you're a thug. And to me, a terrorist should be shot and hung. I don't care if you're from the United States or from another country. Once you move into being a terrorist, you ought to be jailed, shot, hung, whatever needs to be done. Those police officers did not deserve what happened to them yesterday. Their families did not deserve it. They had nothing to do with any of that. And each of you out there who support the Black Lives Movement, you need to check your conscience, and you need to check your spiritual conscience, because nobody has the right to murder anyone. Just like those two gentlemen that were killed by police officers, those police officers, if they murdered them, I hope they go to jail for the rest of their life or get electrocuted. Don't matter to me, it's murder. But murdering anybody is against not only a moral code, it's against the law. You can't go out there because somebody went out there and slapped your wife. You can't go over to their house and slap their wife. If you do, you're going to jail. And that's just a simple slap. Now we have got organized terrorists targeting police officers. And this that happened last night, that happened from professional snipers. It was set up, timed, orchestrated to take place the way it did. You don't shoot into a massive crowd and only pick out the police officers with wild range fire. It doesn't happen. Any of you who's been in the military must know that you just don't squeeze the trigger and it finds the person that you wish it would find. If you squeeze the trigger and the bullet goes where you pointed the weapon, and the gentleman who, well, he ain't even a gentleman, he's a piece of trash, who killed himself, knew that he was wrong. And this, to me, is a government ploy and set up and run by the government to let Obama push his gun control, take the weapons away from American people. That way he can invoke martial law on this country, take over every police department. And if you think we got rough times now living with police, you wait till they all get government authority to do anything they wish. Come in your house, take everything you got, and there's nothing you can do. They can drag you to jail just for saying something. You can end up in prison for God knows how long just for saying something against the government. And that's coming. That's coming. Guys, you have got to wake up. You've got to reach out to the people you know, and you've got to tell them there is a way this stops. And the only way this stops is when a police officer approaches you, whether you're right or wrong, if you use the words, yes sir, no sir, you don't move until they tell you to move, there's nothing going to happen to you. If they say, like he said, I've got a gun permit, if they say, give me your gun, say, sir, I would prefer that you reach in and grab my gun while my hands can be handcuffed to the steering wheel. It doesn't matter to me. I have a permit, I have a weapon. I do not want to be shot. So if you will, sir, I'll tell you where it's at. You can take that weapon out, do with it what you will. We can get out and discuss what happened and move on about life. I can go home to my family, you can go home to yours. Now, somebody was just in here and decided to leave. And I bet that somebody who was in here decided that I was full of shit. Well, when it happens to your family, when your family's in the middle of a crowd promoting something like that and a stray bullet shoots them, who you going to be mad at? Or are you just going to say, oh, well, that's my family member. They gave their life for a cause. There is no cause. What if, for instance, all the white people got together and said, we think all the black people who ride around with tinted windows and are drug dealers, we think we have the right to shoot them. What do you think would happen? A federal task force would light down on the white people like it wasn't nothing. That's what's telling me this is being okayed and accompanied by the federal government. That's in my heart. That's in my mind. Because anybody, any president who first starts that fire, the day before condemns police officers, then the next day realizes he caused more murder of police officers, goes on TV and says this nonsense must stop with police officers. That was the first time. Do you think Obama's done anything for the black population? I know he hasn't. Look at Chicago. Do you see Chicago on the news every day? Do you see them down there trying to stop all that murder and violence? Nope. It's the only thing they do is they get on the news to whatever they call if it bleeds, it leads. So they're promoting this for an agenda. It's all an agenda. So here's what we can do as a country. We can stand together and say, A, everyone's life matters. B, that the law must be followed 110% in every case, leading all the way to the people who run this country. If you or I did half the things that takes place in these top government offices, city offices, county offices, if we did 1/10 of that, we'd be in prison forever. You know? And it saddens me to think that this country has turned to that. It saddens me to think there are people walking the street that are so heartless that they would take another man's life over something that had nothing to do with them. Just because you're black, that doesn't make it okay for you to go kill white people because you think a black man got killed. Just because I'm white, it doesn't make it okay for me to go kill white people because a white man got killed. Read your Bible. Do something. Try to find some kind of rationale as to what's going on. Think about it. This country has changed 120%, tenfold in the last 7.5 years. From a country that we could all be at least 75% proud of, because there's always going to be corruption, to a country that I'm ashamed, and I'm a military veteran, I'm ashamed at what's taking place in this country. And you should be ashamed too. And if you can't take time to watch a 15-minute video, sit back, think about it, pass it on so other people can think about it. Maybe if you pass this video on and somebody listens to it, maybe it'll stop another mass shooting. You know, it's not these guns that are just jumping up in windowsills, you know, climbing up the stairs, sitting in buildings, and then finding its target and pulling the trigger. It's criminals. It's criminals that are doing this. Why are the police not enforcing the gun laws that are in effect now instead of trying to create new ones? Why? That is the question you ought to be answering. There's enough gun laws on the books to put anybody in prison they need to or want to for using a firearm outside of hunting or self-protection. You can't walk around the neighborhood and fire off bullets in your neighborhood. You can't walk around with your gun showing. You can't walk around flashing your gun at people, scaring people. You can't walk around pointing and presenting your gun at people. There's laws against all that. And if they would just stop and prosecute every one of these people, this would go away. And I think if you take a gun to hurt another human being, whatever happens to you, whether you're drugged through the street by the bumper of a car or drugged down the street by a horse down the middle of a dirt road, doesn't matter to me. Good riddance, because you're nothing but a criminal. Now, if you want to stand up and fight for what's right, protest calmly. That's where people listen. Write letters, melt the phone lines, march on Washington. That's where people listen. But when you start pulling guns and violence is involved, you've turned yourself into a terrorist organization, and soon you will hear that the United States will criminalize the Black Lives Movement as a terrorist organization because they stepped into the window last night full blown. So that's my take on it. I love the police department, the police officers, because I know if I need them, they're going to step out of that car wherever I'm at, and they're going to put themselves in front of me to protect me when they've got family at home. No matter day or night, whether somebody's there or not there, those brave men and women will step in front of you and protect your whole family. Now, are there some bad cops out there? Absolutely. And I think the way you get rid of bad cops is you plant, you video, you turn it into the Justice Department before a deadly action happens. If you're a police officer and you know somebody who's dirty, turn them in. If you're a friend of one of these police officers who walks around and thinks he's God's gift to the police department, he's all powerful, call them, turn them in. That's the way you stop it, people. You don't stop it with more violence. It only begets violence. And what's going to happen is these police officers, they may not shoot you, but I can promise you, you're going to be treated like a common criminal every time you're pulled out of a situation. And it's only going to get worse. And all they got to do is say you resisted arrest. They can come up with anything they want to because of what just happened yesterday. Their lives now can be considered in danger 24/7, and they have to do what they have to do to protect themselves. So it not only caused problems for the black community, it's going to cause problems for the white community. It's going to cause problems for the poor community. So please, people, this is America. Let's cut this stuff out. Get out there and speak to people who's in this movement. Have them stop doing this violence, blocking streets, just acting criminal. You don't have to be a criminal to get your voice heard. Don't impede another person's freedom trying to create a dilemma that makes you look good for 5 minutes. Because what are your kids going to think? You look around at the country now and you say, what's wrong with this country? This. I wasn't raised to even think about that. I was raised that the police officer said, stop, you stop. He said, get on the ground, you got on the ground. Yes, sir, no, sir. I've done it my whole life. I've never got in trouble one time. Yeah, I've been pulled over. I've been asked questions in my lifetime. As a teenager, I was even taken to jail one time for drinking a beer. But I was nice. They let me go. They didn't charge me. They didn't put it on my record. Because I was courteous, polite, nice, and did not present a problem. So please, America, I'm asking you, stop the violence. It's only going to make this country turn into a war zone. That's my take on it. If you got anything good to say about it, leave a comment. If you got anything bad to say about it, leave a comment. But if you're not brave enough to talk about it, then don't claim that you're on one side or the other, because you're going to be a victim. Take care. God bless. And may our hearts and God be with the fallen officers and the other officers that were injured and the civilian that was injured. And all the police officers across this country. We thank God for them. And we all depend on them just as much as you know you depend on them.